East region time. This is the one for us, baby. All right. We're going to start at the top. Number 1, Michigan taking on number 16, Texas Southern. I don't think it's a homer move to say we're going to beat Texas Southern. Give me Michigan in that one. Give me Michigan in that one safely.
Yeah, I'm going the exact same way, obviously. It's a 16 seed, Texas Southern. They haven't even done anything in an NCAA tournament that I've known of. So
they're playing
I
at
picked
12
Michigan
seed.
to win pretty comfortably, even without Isaiah Livers.
Number 8, LSU versus number 9, St. Bonaventure. The Bonnies! The Bonnies! They get crushed by LSU. Not crushed, but beaten handily.
Yeah, I don't see St. Bonaventure making it close. I'm picking LSU to move on handily as well.
Setting up a scary second-round matchup.
Yeah.
Number 5, Colorado versus number 12, Georgetown. After what Georgetown did in the Big East, including destroying Creighton, yeah, give me Georgetown.
Georgetown, after bombing Creighton, really shocked me. I thought Creighton would win that. And then Georgetown decided to blow them out by 25. I'm like, what? And Colorado decided to lose to Oregon State. Combine those two together, and I'm going with an upset.
Give me Georgetown.
Georgetown moves on.
I'm going to take, in this next one, Florida State versus UNC Greensboro. I'm taking Florida State. And I know, Mitch told me right before, and he's like, you know what, I'm backing out of one of my upsets here. I'm like, you're backing out of the Florida State upset? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, now watch. All of your upset picks are going to be wrong. The only upset of the tournament is going to be Florida State getting upset by UNC Greensboro, the one you backed out on. But give me Florida State.
No, I just picked UNC Greensboro because I hoped that Florida State would not play Michigan. That's not going to be the case. Honestly, I do think it could be really close because the Seminoles do have some issues. They sometimes they've had some games where it doesn't look pretty for them. But it's UNC Greensboro. And as much as I'd like to see them go out in round 1, they're not going out round 1. Most likely not round 2 either.
Yeah.
So I Florida State to move on. But it could be a close game. I think it should be decent.
This next one, I've been going back and forth on. If I should pick BYU or Michigan State. I really do want to pick BYU. I know they're in the West Coast Conference, but BYU always seems to do at least something. I can't, though, unless Aaron Henry and has a semi-decent game and everybody else has a terrible game. I don't see them losing this game. I think Michigan State pulls out the win pretty easily. Not easily, but comfortably.
I'm a big believer in great head coaches. Tom Izzo, as much as I hate to say it, is a great head coach. Great head coaches, like I said before, find ways to win. Michigan State will find a way to beat BYU, and I don't really think they'll need to find a way to win. I think they'll handily knock off BYU.
Until they run into the buzzsaw next round.
Yeah.
Texas versus Abilene Christian. You know what I say about 3 seeds. They barely ever lose to 14 seeds. I don't know why, but 3 seeds are just, they're safe. Give me Texas in a landslide over Abilene Christian.
This is a very scary team for anyone to play. They're athletic, they can shoot the ball, and they're a very, very dangerous team. They're somewhat similar to Florida State, but they're just way more athletic, very tall, and can shoot the ball a little bit better than Florida State. Texas is very scary. I think they'll blow out not Appalachian State. What is it?
Abilene Christian.
Whatever. They're going to blow them out.
Whoever they're playing, they're going to blow them out.
Abilene Christian is. I like to pick the Christian school, but you're also playing the Texas Longhorns and Shaka Smart.
I know
with the Longhorns to win by like 20 or 30.
I know we're opposite on this one. Maryland versus UConn. I hate UConn. I will not pick UConn. I will not Maryland has played impressively. I think their wins, their wins late against Michigan State are insanely impressive, and those 2 wins alone are enough to get me to pick them over the Huskies. Screw UConn. Give me the crying Terps who can't handle a coach stepping out of his box for even a second. I lost a lot of respect for Mark Turgeon.
Mark Turgeon, I believe in great head coaches finding ways to win. Maryland does have a great head coach. This can go either way. Obviously, these two have some history. I know they play a lot in women's basketball, as they are both big-time women basketball programs. Decently, they're pretty big for men's too, but women's basketball, they've been good for ages.
Obviously, UConn is probably the greatest.
Maryland's been pretty good though for women's basketball too. I believe they're 2 seed this year. I think the seeds came out today, but Maryland, UConn, this really could go either way. But I'm going to give the edge to the UConn Huskies, who have James Bouknight, who is a NBA talent. I'm going to give it to UConn, who has a really good player on their team. I honestly, I could see it going either way. I'd like to see the Big Ten team win, but I'm going to go with UConn to pull off a very close win against Maryland. Should be down to the wire, close throughout.
Alabama, Iona.
Can Rick Pitino win as a 15 seed?
No. And stop talking. I'm an Alabama believer. And give me the Crimson Tide in that one. And I would hope you pick the same.
Yeah, I picked the same. I like Rick Pitino. He's a good head coach. I mean, well, obviously he cheated at Louisville, but he's a good head
against
coach.
us. I hate Rick Pitino.
But Rick Pitino's a good head coach. He knows what he's doing. Alabama is still a superior team to Iona. I'm picking Bama to wipe them out. And also, speaking of the Patinos, his son actually, Richard Pitino, was actually fired from Minnesota.
I mean, after the season, what happened? That
also,
makes sense.
Another Big Ten coach was fired. Adam Miller got fired from Indiana. Not like that wasn't going to happen or anything like that after their season.
Second round, Michigan LSU. It's gonna be a good game. LSU can score some points. I don't know who on their team will stop Hunter Dickinson though. I think Hunter Dickinson will bully down in the paint. I think the guards just have to do a little bit of work. Wagner's going to have a decent game, but I think Michigan squeaks by in this one. Give me the Wolverines.
Yeah, LSU is a all-around good talent. They have they have guys who can score. They have guys who can play defense. They're pretty much a poor man's version of Michigan. They have guys who can do pretty much everything across the board, just not as good as the Wolverines.
And they don't have the senior leadership.
Yeah, and they don't have a Livers leadership either. Not that we will, because he's hurt.
I mean, even Eli Brooks is a senior. Mike Smith is a senior. He's obviously not a Michigan senior, but he's a senior. So we've got got some seniors on this team. So, but yeah, I would assume you're taking Michigan as well.
Yeah, I think Michigan should be able to. I think they'll pull off a close upset or close win versus LSU. It's not an upset.
I mean, considering you just called LSU the poor man's Michigan.
Yeah,
I would hope you pick Michigan.
I think Michigan will slip by LSU. And apparently ESPN made a mistake. They said that Richard Pitino's record was 54-96, and they said, "Wait, that's his Big Ten regular season record. His actual record was 141-123."
Nice. Moving on, Florida State, Georgetown. I can't pick Georgetown. I don't really trust Florida State too much. Like, I know you don't, but I can't really pick Georgetown there. So give me Florida State.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same way. Of course, before I had UNC Greensboro here, but no, I'm not putting UNC Greensboro in the second round.
It was funny. Because we were talking beforehand, and Mitch is like, "Yeah, that Michigan-Georgetown game in the Sweet 16 is gonna be fun." I'm like, "You have Georgetown beating Florida State in the second round?" He's like, "No, I have UNC Greensboro beating Florida State in the first round. I have Georgetown beating UNC Greensboro in the second round," and I'm like,
That's what I'd love to see. That it won't happen probably.
Trust me, I'd love to see it too. I don't like Florida State either.
Yeah, but I think the Seminoles should be able to slip by Georgetown. It'll be closer again than I think people expect, but I think Florida State should pull off the close win. I think Georgetown will try to pull off an upset, but they'll come up just short.
Now a game that we're going to love, the Michigan State Spartans running into the buzzsaw known as the Texas Longhorns. Give me the Longhorns.
Getting absolutely demolished by Texas.
Give me the Longhorns in a pretty easy one.
Yeah, it won't be close. Texas will destroy Michigan State. They outmatch them absolutely everywhere. Michigan State is a decent team. Texas is significantly better. I pick Texas to murder the Spartans.
Maryland plays well.
It's Texas, so
Maryland plays well in the first round, but you know what? Set up the East region to be the top 4 seeds. Give me Alabama in a pretty handy one against Maryland.
For me, it is UConn versus Alabama. I think this game could go either way. I like the Huskies. James Bouknight's really good. They have a couple decent players.
Don't do it.
Alabama lives and dies by the stinking 3-point shot, and if that does not fall, they are going to get smoked by pretty much any team they play or have massive problems.
Don't do it.
UConn is a decent defensive team. Alabama can be inconsistent, and I think UConn will slip by. They will not get past the Sweet 16. They will not be getting past Texas. But they will be beating Alabama, who they're too inconsistent. They rely too much on the 3-point shot, which, well, I don't like teams that rely on the 3-point shot. It does not work.
It does.
I've seen years of Michigan just shooting a billion threes and hoping it works. And, okay, yes, it sometimes does, okay? Yeah, there are some games where you can shoot a billion three-pointers, knock down a decent amount of them, and win the game. But it does not work all the time, especially against a team like UConn, who's got a decent defense, who's got James Bouknight, who has good players. I'm picking UConn to slip by in a close game.
Has the Warriors dynasty been for nothing? What about the Warriors? They lived and died by the 3-pointer and got 3 championships out of it. What?
That's the NBA. We're talking about the NBA.
Still, I don't know. I trust Alabama enough to get... Well, I have Maryland. I think they would get past either team. I mean, live or die by the 3. Either way, they've kicked some pretty good competition's butt.
And Golden State actually has some inside games, so...
Give me the Crimson Tide. I don't think they'll beat Texas. I think it's a toss-up between them and Texas, but I think Texas is the better team. Anyway, Michigan, Florida State. As I've previously stated, I don't trust Florida State. I'm also a Michigan fan. Take a wild gander at who I'm going to pick. Also, Mitch had UNC Greensboro beating Florida State in the first round originally. Take a wild gander at who he's going to pick.
I think this is a very, very bad matchup for Michigan. Florida State and Texas are bad matchups for the Wolverines. Seminoles have some very good players. I don't really trust the Seminoles very much, but I also don't trust Michigan without Isaiah Livers. If they do not have Isaiah Livers, they do not win this game. If they have Isaiah Livers, I think they move on. So assuming that Livers is still able to play at this point, I pick Michigan to move on. If they do not have Isaiah Livers, this is where the run dies.
Unless Mike Smith has another game again, like he did against Maryland, where he has 18 assists and 15 points and 18 assists. I'm saying the Maryland game. I don't want him to have an Ohio State game again. I want him to have a Maryland game again, where he has 15 assists and 18 points.
But I think if Michigan has Isaiah Livers, they will win this game. If they do not have Isaiah Livers, I do not like their chances whatsoever.
Number 2, Alabama versus number 3, Texas. I mean, Alabama's great. John Petty Jr. is great. I watched Alabama play that entire game against LSU in the championship, and I thought it was such a fun game. I honestly do not regret waking up early to watch that game. That being said, Texas beat probably one of my favorite teams of this year in Oklahoma State in their Big 12 championship. So give me the team that stopped the hottest team in college basketball. Give me the Longhorns in a close one.
For me, it'll be Texas and UConn. Even if it's Alabama, I think the result will be the same. Texas outmatches really either one of those teams. I like Texas to move on to the Elite Eight. I think they'll beat UConn more than they'd beat Alabama. But in any case, Texas will easily, I think, moves on to the Elite Eight to play Michigan. Even if they have Isaiah Miller's Michigan's chances, that I still might move on.
Yep. And then we move on to the final, the Elite Eight, Michigan, Texas. Obviously, we kind of stated I'm with you on that. Unfortunately, I love Michigan, but again, Texas has just looked so freaking good. Texas has just looked outstanding. So, unfortunately, give me Texas in my Final Four. And I think you just said the same, right?
I'm gonna be a homer.
You're gonna be a homer? You're gonna be a homer?
Michigan's very good. If they have Isaiah Livers, I think once again they should be able to pull it off, assuming they have Isaiah Livers. If they don't, I think the run dies at Florida State. But if they have Isaiah Livers, Livers is that kind of guy that gives Michigan a spark when they start to struggle. He's been the go-to guy when Michigan has problems, whether it's on the offensive end or even on the defensive end. He is the person that leads Michigan when we struggle. And if we have Isaiah Livers, he is a game changer for the Wolverines. I think they'll carry us past Florida State and barely past Texas. But
that's a toss-up.
We do not have Isaiah Livers. We don't get past the Sweet 16. But again, this is assuming we have Isaiah Livers already. I pick him to go to the Final Four with Isaiah.
All right, well, those are some fun brackets. We're moving on to the South now. Obviously, my heart's already broken because I had to pick Texas over us, so it's time to take Syracuse to the national championship. All right, we'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.